back. EB's Marathon. This is episode 5.
Yep.
And
oh shit.
Here we are with the man himself. What's wrong? You know it's never gonna be good when he starts out. Shit. All right, we're waiting for Erc to get back and join us. He accidentally clicked out or something. I knew it was good. You said, shit. So what's up? You at the Gabriel house still hanging out?
Week 2 at the Gabriel house. My parents came up tonight, so that was cool. Melanie worked today, and my mother-in-law, Miss Kathy, was here with me. So Melanie picked my parents up on the way back up here today, and so we got to have dinner with them and got to see them, and yeah, just kind of chilling. Got a big day tomorrow.
What's tomorrow?
Actually I got like 4 appointments tomorrow, but the main one is the bone marrow biopsy. And we'll kind of get to see,
right,
32 days out, what's going on with the cells. Are the donor cells, the majority? Hopefully my cells are the minority. If we get lucky, maybe even 100% of the donor cells, but I don't know if they're quite expecting that this quickly. But the hope is that it's, 70, 80, 90% of the donor cells, and then mine are slowly going away. And so we'll find that out. I don't know if we'll find that out tomorrow or if it'll be early next week sometime. But they'll actually do the bone marrow biopsy tomorrow, which I'm not looking forward to. I've had like 5 of them, but, it is what it is. It's one of those things where, that you lay flat on your stomach. You don't really see what's going on, but it's one of those things where it's right. Like, look, I know what y'all doing back there with that big ass needle. And they stick it in your...
Are they like chipping the piece?
Yeah, they go in with the long ass needle. Yeah, they go in with the long ass needle. They pull out some marrow first. So they actually pull out like the juice, the bone marrow. And then after they do that, they go in there and they kind of break off a little piece off the hip. They usually do either the right or the left side, and they kind of get a little piece of hip bone. And so, actually, I've had 5 of them. I've had 3 where I really didn't feel anything. I've had 2, one in particular that was kind of rough. It was like I could feel them moving around in there. I could feel them in there kind of struggling, trying to break off the little piece of bone. But the last one I had was smooth, so I'm hoping tomorrow is like the last one I had, because the last one I had, I didn't feel nothing. They were done in no time, and it was the smoothest one I've had. But all of that's going to take place tomorrow.
Is whether or not it's how bad it is or how much pain you feel, does that just depend on? Is it kind of like when you get a shot or draw blood, like depending on how good that nurse or tech is or whatever?
They actually numb you up.
Based on that, or is it just...
Yeah, they actually numb you up pretty good, but I just think some people are just probably, they're a little more adept at doing it. Maybe they've done more than other people. And maybe, sometimes they don't numb you up as much as they think they have you numbed up. It's never really hurt. I just could there's been a couple times where I could kind of feel them moving around. It's almost like when you go to the dentist, you're working on your teeth, and you go to some dentist and, you don't feel anything. And then you go to other dentists and like, hold up, I kind of feel you moving around,
Right.
It's not necessarily hurting, but you can tell that you're in there doing some stuff, So that's kind of how it is.
You just feel them in there.
Yeah.
So that was the first time. Today was the first time you saw your parents in how long? It's been over a month, right?
Yeah, since
You hear me, Eric?
April 13th, Melanie said she's on top of it. I knew it was somewhere around in there because we came up here on the 14th. Yeah, we came up on the 14th of April. So yeah, it's been about 6 weeks.
Yeah. So that's got to be good, though. A good feeling for them to see you and
that was cool.
Spend that time.
Yeah, that was cool. So
yeah. Now, yesterday when we were talking, what's that?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying yesterday when we were talking, you were talking about that guy who's like 6 weeks in front of you. And what he was saying, because you know you've been tell people how you've been feeling right now. I know you're at that 32-day mark or whatever, and this was a time when doctors had told you it was going to be pretty rough in the transition.
Yeah, and it has been. Actually, I've seemed like each day this week I've gotten just a little bit better. But yeah, John is who you're talking about, and John is 69 years old, so he got 14 years on me. But he had the bone marrow transplant. Although I found out today, I actually talked to him quite a bit today, and his treatment plan was quite a bit different than what mine was, because I was kind of telling him about when I initially got diagnosed, I had the fevers, I had the chills, and he said he never dealt with any of that. And he said he got diagnosed in 2020, and he said he had been taking like a chemo pill for a couple of years, and then it finally just quit working. But so that's when I realized that our treatment plans have, are, even though we've got the same disease, our treatment plans have basically been totally different. And he said it was right about the same time that I got diagnosed that he kind of got diagnosed. They told him that, the chemo pill wasn't working and he was going to have a bone marrow transplant too. So he had his on March 11th, I think he said. So yeah, he's about 6 weeks ahead of me in the recovery. But and he's doing well. You can tell that he feels a lot better. But he told me at the same time frame where I'm at, he said, he didn't even want to come out of his room. He's kind of telling me that I was doing good, that the fact that I even wanted to come out of my room, that I even wanted to try to eat some food, even though I'm not really enjoying it, So he was like, definitely at this point, I'm probably doing a little better than he is. But if you see him now, you can tell that he feels well. And he's at that, I think he's at the 75-day mark. And that's kind of what they tell you, that 30-day mark is going to be kind of terrible. The 60-day mark is where you kind of start, you start seeing things get better. You start feeling a little better. And so at 100, he'll be up out of here. I think he said June 21st will be 100 days for him. So talking to him has been good, because I can see him moving around and how he feels, and it's kind of like, okay, that'll be me. I just got to be patient and, wait this time out, because it's really all about time,
Right.
And like I said last week, it's not going to be daily. You're not going to necessarily feel significantly better daily. It's more of a weekly type thing,
Yeah.
So, yeah, John is cool. I like talking to John. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were talking about how you said he was a ex-military guy and was like, said he worked out and was in real good shape.
Yeah, because actually at his age, at 69, he's kind of like at the cutoff for bone marrow transplant. Because once you hit 70 or so, unless you're in great shape, great condition, I don't even think they really consider you a candidate for a bone marrow transplant, But he said that
because of how much it weakens you.
Yeah. But he said that he's always worked out, and he says for 50 years, I've pretty much just been on it, and you can tell that he's probably in really good shape, He's like I said, former military, and but yeah, like I said, you see him walking around here now, 75 days out, and you can tell that he's feeling good. He's definitely on another level or two, probably from where I'm at right now.
Right.
But it's motivating to be able to talk to him, because it's like I know eventually, I'll make it to that point. I'm just not there now. I'm just kind of in that bad spot right now, in the rough time right now.
Right. And then, like you said, I mean, that's very uplifting to hear him say, I mean, this dude that was in great shape, and yeah, he's 69 years old, but he's always been in great shape and stuff. And he's telling you where you're at right now. He's impressed because he's like,
right.
I was way worse.
Right.
Than you were,
he did.
He
said he just, he didn't even want to come out his room. He didn't want to eat nothing. He said and the weird thing is, because most people that work out generally are drinking plenty of liquids and things like that. He said he's never really been a drinker either, as far as liquids, water, Gatorade, or whatever, And that's something that's been stressed to me, is that the more liquid you drink, the better off you're going to be. And in fact, my main physician, he pretty much said that, if he had to choose one, he would prefer that I drink over eating, if it just got to the point where I had to do one or the other, because he said the drinking is much more important, staying hydrated at this point,
Hydrated.
And that's something John said that he struggled with. So between probably not drinking and getting to that 30-day mark, because that's something that I've noticed in the last few days, I've kind of, upped my liquid intake, and I don't feel quite as bad. I still don't feel great, but I've noticed that it seemed like I feel a little better when I stay hydrated.
Yeah. And talk to us a little bit about, you were talking about the food and how you're like, food doesn't really taste, like the taste of it.
Food tastes
hard for you to enjoy.
Food tastes like, they spray pesticide on it, and it just, I'm not enjoying anything. My mom brought a banana pudding tonight. It wasn't even good. That's how bad.
And her banana pudding is mild.
That's how bad that's how bad my taste buds are right now. You can't give me anything. It all pretty much has that same taste to it. And I'm sure that's probably a lot of that is, I had a week of some strong ass chemo leading up to the transplant.
Right.
I had a couple days of some more strong ass chemo after the transplant, and then the transplant itself, which is probably more powerful than any of that chemo I had, so you add all that together, and my body's just going through some changes, and my taste buds are just done right now. And don't get me wrong, I get hungry. I want to eat, but I'm just when you don't enjoy it, you're not going to eat as much. And that's when my doctor was in there. Well, like if you got to sacrifice something, I would prefer you sacrifice the food versus the liquid,
Right. Travis Gooden, he said, know that you're in my prayers and my beliefs for you, for a complete healing. And Jackie said, hey, Ercil. And Stefan also said, Ercil, throw up the heart and the fist.
Yep. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's one of those things like obviously talking to you throughout this week, and every time I talk to you and I ask how you feeling, you're like, honestly, but it's so funny because as soon as we be getting on these lives, you always look good,
and that's kind of the thing, man. I've noticed that if you can kind of take your mind off of it sometimes, you don't feel as bad, you aren't dwelling on it, let's put it that way. You aren't dwelling on it, you're not thinking about, man, I feel like shit right now, because if you're thinking about it, then you're probably doubly feeling, so if you can kind of take your mind off of it or whatever, and it helps.
Right. And even as we're talking about it, obviously you're thinking about it, but it's not the same as just sitting alone in your thoughts.
There.
Right?
And like say you had them moments, everybody got them moments of weakness where they be like, damn, man, the hell this happened to me? You know what I'm saying? And,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
And those are those moments that make it worse. And you kind of have to pull yourself up out of that, you know, because like I said, the physical is bad enough, but the mental is really what kind of wears you down. And it probably makes you feel
Yep.
even worse physically, you know, if you're in your head about it and, you know, telling yourself, man, this sucks and I'm feeling like this. And, you know, why did this happen to me? And, you know, so.
Yeah. My friend Arky, she went through her own, she's cancer free now, but she had her own battle with cancer. And she also says, praying for you and you've got this. Yep. And she, you know, she's had 2 kids and everything since her stuff.
Right.
But talk to me, like earlier you were saying, a couple of days ago when we were talking, you were saying how the doctor was saying how basically everything you've gone through is essentially like a open heart surgery, right? But you don't have the scar.
Yeah, he was kind of telling me to lighten up on myself, you know, because of course I want to feel better, but you know, I have no control over this. And he basically told me, you know, and those were exact words. He's like, you need to lighten up on yourself. And he said, imagine if you had open heart surgery. He said, you'd have, you know, you have your scar. You could show everybody your little war wound, you know, I get open heart surgery. And he said, with this, I basically just got a bag of cells through an IV. Took an hour, you know, that wasn't opened up or anything like that. He said, but at the end of the day, the equivalence between the two are almost the same, you know?
Right.
So I basically kind of got open heart surgery without a wound, you know? And he said, somebody that's recovering from a surgery like that, it's a slow, you know, process. And that's basically the same thing that I'm dealing with. So, and he was kind of like, you know, don't beat yourself up. You know, I can't go in the mirror and see a scar or see, you know, where I got a wound or anything like that. But he said, basically, you know, my body is fighting a fight, you know, just like somebody would who just had open heart surgery, maybe even more so than somebody who had open heart surgery. Yeah. Because there's just there's a bunch of different forces at play inside my body, you know, and they're all trying to, you know, they're all kind of trying to rule the roost, you know what I'm saying? Because especially with the cells, and that's why tomorrow's so important. We'll find out what's going on with the cells, how many of mine are still around, which we know are cancerous, and how many of the donors, you know, the healthy, because that's the ultimate goal is for the donors to take over and for me to start generating healthy blood from the donor cells.
Right.
Which John did, by the way, bringing up John again. John said that at 30 days, you know, his were doing that. So, you know.
His were still ruling.
His donor cells had actually already taken over and was generating, you know, healthy blood. So we'll see. Right. We'll find out tomorrow, but I'm not really tripping on that too much, you know, because like I say, that's another thing that I don't really have control of. But the hope is, like I said, is that it's the majority of the donor cells and not many of mine. And then by the time we get to that 100-day mark, you know, it's 100% of the donor cells, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, again, that's why it's definitely a marathon. And I think it's far more than any of us probably bargained for, but obviously you in particular, you know, going through it. Again, just seeing every week, you know, and talking to you and just seeing your resilience through it all, man, it's very inspiring. And I know there's a number of people that watch and they, you know, they're not just praying for you, but I've had people say straight up, like they love seeing you and hearing you talk about this as opposed to just the, you know, typical message, right? Yep. And when you send out that post up or a message, right? Like everybody can kind of interpret it in which way, but like to actually see you and hear it all from you is far more impactful. And also with all these, I make sure I'm tagging like Be the Match, because we've talked about it on here before about how the number of people, would you say it was 27 or 29%?
29%, yeah, for Black
Of
Americans
Black people,
finding a donor.
don't even,
Yeah.
and then it's 72%
Yeah.
of white
Right,
donors
right. Yeah,
typically.
black. I mean, I'm just gonna call you out. Black people got to do better when it comes to that. You know, you got to
Right.
quit being so scary of everything, and you know what I'm saying? Because you never know when somebody in your family may need a donation, and it's not a given. That's the one thing we found out, and I've actually heard it from other patients. It's not a given that one of your kids or one of your siblings is going to be that match. You know, it seems like it. It's crazy to think that one of your siblings wouldn't be a match, but some stranger out here in the world could end up being your match. But it actually happens more than you probably would believe. You know,
Right. Which, like you said, is a trip in itself.
it is.
It just goes to
it
show
doesn't
you
make
that
any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And then, like I said, when you start talking nieces and nephews and uncles and cousins, ain't none of them people going to be a match. None of them. It just doesn't work that way. You would think it would work that way, especially if you're coming from the same DNA or the same family tree, but it doesn't necessarily work that way at all. So, yeah, get out and donate, man. Just if nothing else, just look into it, and read up on it and decide if it's something that you need to do,
Yeah. Yeah. I told you I initially entered the registry in 2013. And then I went ahead and re-registered because when I got on there, they still had my information from whenever I was in the military.
Right.
So I sent a thing. They sent me another packet. I did the swab again, and now they have my updated information here in Oregon.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm probably in there twice because, like I said, they still had my information from when I was in the military.
Right.
But it had my email address, and I never received anything. So I imagine they would probably use all forms. But
yeah, and I mean,
definitely.
And like I say, they've never called you. You've never been contacted, and you may never get contacted.
No.
You might sign up and never get contacted, but you might end up, you never know. So the opportunity maybe to save somebody's life, man, I think that's powerful right there, And like I say, me being on the other end of it, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that they were able to find a match, and that person, did what they were supposed to do. Because I went through a month earlier. I went through where the person never even responded. They reached out to him.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not even really mad at that. I can't even really be mad at that because when you sign up, you're probably thinking, they'll never call me. I never hear from them. That's probably the thought process for a lot of people. And then when you finally do, like you said, 2 years, 5 years, 10, 12 years down the line, it's like, oh, hold up. Well, what did I sign up for?
Right. I wasn't quite ready. Hold on.
Yeah, I need another 5 years to think on it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, somebody out there, donated cells that is allowing me to get healthy. And when you wrap your head around that and totally think about that, that's priceless right there,
Right. And even up until this point, they don't know you.
No.
Or you don't know them. Y'all no information is exchanged.
No, they keep all of that private. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And then I say a year or so, I think down the road, maybe when everything's worked out, then I think they kind of allow an opportunity. I would be allowed an opportunity from what I understand to reach out, and kind of let the person know that, look, you donated cells and I got your cells and, I thank you for that,
Right. Which I know is something that you're not even going to hesitate to do.
No, yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Nope.
I know there won't be any hesitation for you to do that.
No. Yeah. Because some of these people build, they have a lifelong bond after that. You just.
Right.
So. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And I guess, they say I've read obviously about the different things, but with when you do the transplant, I mean, there's no risk to the person that's donating,
No.
right? Like there's nothing. They're going to recover just fine from it.
Right.
But I think the one part that you hear about, because I think they do the bone chip part on them as well, right? They have to chip a piece of their hip
Sometimes
bone.
I don't know if they have to do that all the time. I'm not really sure how that works, but yeah.
And from everything that I've read about it, you do most of it, if you want to, it's under anesthesia.
Right.
So it's not like you're actually going to be in a whole lot of pain.
Right, yeah.
It's not
like a little
painful process.
Yeah, it's like a little 3-day recovery process, and they say actually you can do it 3 or 4 times a year if you wanted to. It's just kind of like up to you.
Right.
So,
like you said, it's completely worth it.
Yeah, because I've actually read that in some places and in some states they actually pay you for it. Yeah, so maybe that'll motivate some of y'all, because I know some of y'all money hungry, greedy. They what word? I can get $1,500 for giving up some bone marrow. That might be motivation.
Right.
But yeah, a chance to save somebody's life, man, even though it might be a complete stranger. Yeah. Be doing that for free. Yeah.
Man, for real. I mean, that's gonna be the most rewarding thing anyone could ever do in your life,
Yeah.
So again, we're thankful for the stranger that stepped up and did this for you, and hopefully one day we all get to meet him or her, and
a real
that would be cool.
That's a real G right there. Yeah,
man, for real. Well, you brought up Miss Kathy earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you wanted to talk about it, but I understand you got something really big to look forward to.
Oh, bro, when them games come on. Oh, yeah. You talking about the Costa Rica trip. Yeah.
I'm talking about Costa Rica. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know if you wanted to share it, but I thought that was cool as hell.
Yeah. She hit me up on Monday, my mother-in-law, and she's like, "Yeah, I got you." And she said, "I know you feeling bad," because Monday was the worst, bro. Monday, I felt like, oh my goodness, if there was ever that moment, where you could see me at my worst, Monday was it.
Right.
And
right.
And she hit me up. And I saw her name on the caller ID, and I was like, oh my goodness, man, I'm already feeling bad. And I'm like, well, here go my mother-in-law calling now, but I knew I went ahead and answered, and and when I answered, she was like, yeah, I got you and Melanie a trip to Costa Rica. She's like, you got 3 years to take it, so you don't have to go till 2025 if you don't want to. And yeah, so it was cool. It was kind of cool. It was kind of cool to hear that, especially at that moment where I was struggling, And like I said, kind of in my head, and this is some BS here, And I was going through that, like what what the nurse told me. She said that at around about the 30-day mark, you are going to question why you even went through this, and I was questioning. And I was, questioning it tough, why, why did I bother going through this? Because before I came in here and was admitted to the hospital, I was actually feeling pretty good, and now I'm laying up here, feeling like trash, So yeah, to get that call was cool, She's like, I got you set up for, Costa Rica. She said, I think the way it was set up is one person is paid for and the other person has to pay X amount of dollars, And and the flight, of course, and they'll I don't know if there'll be a list of hotels or if they choose one for you, but either way, that's cool. So we got something to look forward to,
Well, yeah. Shit, when y'all go, I'm planning my next trip too. I'm gonna be right there with y'all's asses.
Yeah, we've already talked about it. Probably 2024 sometime,
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'd be cool as hell.
Yeah, but definitely thank her for that. Appreciate that.
Man, that is huge, Miss Kathy.
Yeah, and that's
she
one of
came
those
through
things,
on that one.
somebody's thinking about you. You know what I'm saying? While I'm laying up here in that self-pity, wallowing in that self-pity, somebody's out there thinking about me and like, yeah, let's do something, see if I can come up with something that'll, cheer this person up. And so, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't beat that, man, at all. She's a sweet woman.
Yeah.
So what else, man? I mean, it's Thursday, end of the week. You got a big thing tomorrow, but you've been watching these games?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been keeping up with the games. And neither series is really going the way I want it to go, because as a Laker fan, and here's the thing with this, I don't really have a problem with 2022 Boston Celtics. I got a problem with Larry Bird and Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish Celtics. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This Celtic squad actually is one that I could get down with. You know what I'm saying? But I just, as a Laker fan, you just, you can't do it. It's like you can't root for the Celtics
Boston.
as a Laker fan.
Right.
And then in the West, I don't really care a whole lot about the Dallas Mavericks either. But, I'm just tired of Steph and Dre and, Clay, that whole group. Just tired of them. So I'm really not trying to see them win either. But ultimately, I think that's probably where we're headed. And that's probably going to be the finals. It's going to be a Boston Golden State. And then I'm going to be torn because I'm going to have to decide who I'm going to roll with. Do I want to see the Celtics get one more than the Lakers, one more title than the Lakers? No, not really. But do I want to see Steph and, all the Golden State win another one? Not really. So.
Not really. No.
Yeah, so I'm in a dilemma,
Yeah.
I'm in a dilemma, And one thing real quick I do want to bring up while we talking basketball and the Lakers. I don't know if anybody saw the video today of LeBron James at the I Promise school, the school that he helped found it, and to see how those kids reacted, especially 24 hours after the shooting in Texas, prayers, go out there to see how those kids' faces lit up, and I'm thinking to myself, man, how could anybody hate on a dude like this, man? He just came into the school and just the smiles and, the kids were just so excited to see him. And it's like, bro, if you hating on that, your life is miserable. That's all I got to say, If you can hate on somebody that's providing that, you need to check yourself.
For a dude that's been in the limelight since he was 16 years old, have all that pressure and not only have the pressure, but live up to every bit of it and be every bit as good as they said he was supposed to be, and then some, and not have any crazy scandals. And he's with his fucking high school sweetheart and shit, and beautiful kids and a very involved dad. It's weird to me when they hate LeBron. It's weird, and I almost feel like it's like kind of like the Obama syndrome. Like you can not like his politics, right? You can say I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that, but like to not like these individuals, it's weird to me.
Fucking people, and people will find a reason to hate on them, which is to use your word, is goofy as hell to me.
Yep.
Pure goofiness.
Yep. It really is. It's a trip. So I'm actually glad you brought that up. And then obviously that shit in Texas is just we didn't even get over Buffalo, right? Like Buffalo massacre happened, and then right on to this.
And that's another one. You got all these tough guys at home in their living rooms with their little guns and this and that, talking about what they would do and this and that, and I don't know. It's just when them bullets get to flying and they have them AR-15s and they've modified them and them AK-47s, all that toughness goes out the window. Maybe some military combat people might jump in there. They talking about arming teachers. I wouldn't want my wife at school with a gun, responsible for, shooting somebody that's, trying to come into school and she's totally outgunned, that's goofy too.
Right.
That's some goofy ass shit too. And these are just my personal opinions. You can take it for whatever you want to take it. I really don't give a damn, But yeah, arming teachers, they pull out their little 9mm, and this dude here has an AR-15, blowing people's heads up. Yeah, come on, man. Be realistic.
Yeah. Well, or if you arm teachers, what happens the first time a teacher has an incident in their classroom?
With a
maybe it's a high school teacher,
right?
And they end up shooting a student because they're scared.
Right. One of them disrespectful students stand up and call you old bitch ass. What you gonna do then?
Yeah.
You gonna pull the gun and shoot him? Because we definitely got some people probably would have that mentality.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we got more of that. I feared for my life, and they shot the student.
Yeah, it's not up to teachers to be policemen and teaching. And if you're gonna do that, then you need to start talking about some $500, $600, $700, $800,000 $1 million salaries if that's the case. And then we know damn well they ain't gonna do that.
Right.
Yeah, because you make the pay well enough, I'll step in the classroom with a pistol. But that's not their job, bro. That's not their job at all. That's pure silliness right there. And most teachers will tell you. I saw some earlier today. They said it was probably about 73%. They don't want that. They don't want to have to be in the classroom armed and trying to teach a class. And like they said, where are you going to store the gun at? Who's going to buy the artillery? Who's going to buy the bullets? You know what I'm saying? Teachers are already coming out of pocket for pencils and Kleenex and magic markers. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have to buy their own or their own ammo, So you cut that out. I need to cut that out.
Yeah. No, that is real. I don't want to keep you too much. Is there anything else you want to throw out there before we wrap it up?
All right. Each week, you got a little something I need to get off my chest, and I love it. I got it off.
I love it.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, and I already know you gonna go in like, let me say this, and I'm like, go, just go. Yeah. This is your time to do it. Don't hold back. Shit.
Right.
This is EB's
it kind of gets the
that.
juices flowing, and like I say, in that moment, like you said, it was the last 2 minutes. I didn't even realize I was sick. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Yeah.
Good, man. I love it. I mean, this shit is therapeutic all the way around. It's good to, like I said, always seeing your face. It's one thing to hear your voice. It's always good to see your face, and I know there's a lot of other people that like to see it as well, and so it's cool. I'm glad when we first started talking about this early on, and you were like, yeah, let's do that, and you said, even on my bad days, no matter what I'm feeling like, I want to do it, and really during this time, we had the 1 week that we missed, and you were really going through it at that time, but even on some of these other days, it haven't been the best of days that you've been feeling. You still step up, you do it. And I'm glad, John, as you bring up John, the guy who's 6 weeks ahead of you, I love hearing that. Yeah. And even the motivation and inspiration he's able to give you just by telling you like, hey, you're way better off than where I was at that period. Right. And so that's so good for you to have that marker. So I love it. Well, anyway, I'm gonna let you get off here.
Yes, sir.
But I love you.
Yeah.
And thank you. I appreciate you. Like, I appreciate your strength.
Right.
I love your resilience and I love your selflessness, man.
Appreciate it. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. And I love everybody that's out there watching and all the support. Keep it coming because I need it sometimes,
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Ert. Well, we'll do it again. We'll do it again next week.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Later.